Okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and get started. It's 3 after. It's a light group today, so questions might go real quick. But we're gonna get started. We are recording this call too, so we will make it available afterwards. But welcome to the industry roundtable, and we've not had this call for a little bit because of the BEAD grant program. So this is the first time we have had this call in I think 4 months now. So couple of reminders because of that. This is your time as industry professionals to engage with us, ask your questions, make comments. It's really meant to be a roundtable for you. The Broadband office staff will give a few updates on things going on, which there is a lot going on. So we'll do that first before we open it up. And then just a couple of reminders, we cannot provide any guidance on applications or discuss specific applications on this call. So just meant to be more of your time to ask more higher level questions, strategy questions, that kind of stuff. So I am going to hand it over to Paige Asman, who's going to give us some legislative updates. Go ahead, Paige.
Hello, everybody. I'm Paige Osman. I'm a senior policy advisor with the government affairs team at OIT, and we are preparing for the 75th General Assembly that convenes on January 8th, and then will adjourn on May 7th. In October, the Cell Phone Interim Study Committee did advance 3 bills to the 2025 legislative session. These bills include a single point of contact wireless services bill, a wireless telephone infrastructure deployment incentives bill, and a local government permitting wireless telecom facilities bill. OIT did take a neutral position on Bill 1, an opposition position on Bill 2, and no position on Bill 3. So we're just continuing to monitor these bills and engage with sponsors on these bills, and we'll continue to follow them throughout the legislative session. And the Joint Technology Committee is going to be meeting on December 16th, 17th, and 18th at 9 a.m. We will provide a committee audio link if you want to listen in on that. We are expecting 3 returning members to the Joint Technology Committee, as well as 3 new members to the Joint Technology Committee. So there'll likely be two Democratic senators and 1 Democratic House member that will be appointed. And OIT is going to start off their Broadband Legislative Stakeholder Weekly calls throughout the legislative session. We'll begin these on December 5th at 1 p.m. and they'll occur weekly or as needed throughout the session. Please register for these, and once you do register, Zoom will send you an email and make sure that you add those to your calendar so they show up. And next slide, please. So CDOT's Dig Once program, there's a survey out now. They're in the beginning phase of revamping their Dig Once program. This is a federal requirement from the Mobile Now Act, and they're looking for your opinion on how to make the Dig Once program more inclusive. So this survey will be incredibly helpful to CDOT as they build out their new Dig Once program. It does close on December 31st, so please get those responses in as soon as possible. And you are welcome to forward these to any of your peers that would be interested in providing for the new program. So we appreciate your feedback on that, and we think it would be great moves for broadband. And just look forward to working with you in the next session. And please join those Broadband Weekly legislative calls for more legislative updates. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Paige. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jonas Durham, Senior Manager here at the CBO. And I'm going to start off by talking about where we are with some of our metrics, because as you know, we've got this goal to achieve universal coverage in the state by 2027. And I want to provide an update on some of the progress that we're making towards that goal. And really some of the incredible work the team has done to meet and exceed those milestones along the way. So starting out with what we were planning on hitting for June 2025, we wanted to make 94.8% for total households served. And I'm really excited that we have actually surpassed that already, coming in at 95.4% connectivity. So great effort there. If we look at where we're at in the rural areas, the goal was 70% also by June 2025, and we've already hit 75.2%. So again, another incredible milestone achieved and exceeded there. Next, I want to talk about how we compare that to where we're at with the latest FCC national map, to kind of provide some insight on what that means when we're talking about locations. So The map was updated on November 13th, just last week, and it shows that we currently only have 131,000 locations left to serve across the state. So that's a significant drop from the 160,000 that was previously reported. So really this progress represents strides towards achieving that 99% coverage and really reaffirming our commitment to equitable access for all of Colorado. But that said, there's still a lot of work to be done. So let's take a look at the next slide. We'll talk about how we're going to get even closer to achieving that coverage, starting with BEAD. So I want to go over where we're at with our BEAD application window. Recently closing. It's been closed for a couple of weeks now, and the response has been incredible. It has really demonstrated the demand and commitment to expanding broadband access across Colorado. So let's take a look at some of the numbers behind this effort. Starting with the total applications. We received a total of 185 applications, which I think is a clear indication of the readiness to address these broadband gaps statewide. If we look at the funding breakdown, the total funding requested is nearly $1.8 billion, with applications collectively contributing over $500 million in matching funds. So this brings the total project cost to a staggering $2.3 billion. An incredible investment, I think, in Colorado's connectivity future. If we look at eligible locations, we received coverage for nearly 112,000 eligible locations, with a focus on addressing over 67,000 unserved and 44,000 underserved locations. Again, I think these numbers represent a significant opportunity to close that digital divide as we continue to move forward. Also, let's look at the comprehensive reach here. This is outstanding. Every county is represented in the state. 0 counties without applications, with 50 counties seeing multiple proposals and 14 counties receiving at least one. So the geographic reach of these projects is quite extensive. Majority of these submissions, 139, were for priority broadband projects, which aim to meet the highest standards. The remaining 46 focus on other last mile projects. So really ensuring that no community is left behind. Let's see, what else? Diversity among applicants. We had 30 entities who participated, and I think that really reflects the diverse range of organizational types, notably non-ILEC service providers leading with 76% of applications, followed by municipalities, utilities, tribal governments, really a broad representation in the push for connectivity across the state. So we're really pleased with this effort. And I think overall these numbers reflect everyone's commitment to really getting us across the finish line. However, there's still a lot of work left to be done. So let's talk about next steps with BEAD. Right now, CBO is thoroughly reviewing applications, and the goal here is to ensure a tailored solution for each community. The application review process is quite extensive. And as we outlined in our volume 2, we're expecting it to take up to 160 days to complete that effort. But by doing so, I think we'll ensure the most thoughtful, creative, and strategic decisions around which projects move forward. There's obviously still a number of locations on the table that need to be served. So to address that, we'll be opening a round 2 in early to mid-December. It'll adhere to the same rules and regulations as round 1. And so more to come on that as we continue to finalize the dates and details around that, but you'll be notified as soon as that information is ready to go. Any questions about any of this so far? I'll pause and see if anyone has questions. All right, then. Let's keep moving. Let's talk about CPF, and I'll provide an update on that. As you know, CPF was a funding opportunity, $113.5 million that was awarded earlier this year. We did want to provide an update that there was some additional funding that became available through that program and was recently allocated to SCED to connect over 1,700 locations in Crowley County. So I think that these investments are really addressing some of the critical needs in that part of the state and unserved regions in Colorado. So we're happy that we're able to help SCED out there with that project and continue to advance broadband in that part of the state. Any questions around that? Definitely check out the Advanced CPF website for any additional award details and ongoing updates. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brian Martin. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you, Jonas?
Doing well, thank you.
Excellent.
What do you got for us today?
All right. Well, good morning to everybody. Thank you very much for having me on here. I'm happy to be here. We just wanted to celebrate the opening of a new program that we launched on November 6th. That's a couple of weeks ago now. This is the Advanced State and Local Dollars Grant Program, or Advanced Local for short. So if you're unfamiliar with it, I've been running the Broadband Deployment Boards program for the last few years. And because it sunset September 1st, we were taking some time to decide how to move forward next. And this is what we've come up with so far. This is still funded under the State High Cost Support Mechanism Fund, but we've expanded the eligibility for it and then opened up the program to a few more different entities, including middle mile, keeping the last mile like we did before, short-term construction projects, so that can include long drops or make-ready work, and non-deployment projects. So specifically, that looks at a lot of the digital equity and workforce development projects. So we have the opportunity here to really open up the use of this funds and get to areas that may not have been covered by some of the federal funding and continue the good work that the Broadband Deployment Board has done and move into a revamped program. So we did post those program guidelines and the appeals policies on November 6th and have a 30-day comment period open for folks to take a look at. If you're not on the listserv, please go ahead and jump on that. You'll get more updates on that program as we move forward. But we're trying to encourage folks to provide as much comment as possible on these guidelines and this policy so that we can make it the most effective and have the most impact. In those guidelines, you'll see information on the scoring and evaluation criteria. You'll see the guidelines for the project, kind of some more details on what each of the tiers that we have available, how they should be funded and what we should be looking for. And just some general comments as well on how this process looks like. We do have a proposed timeline. So I would encourage you all to click on the comment form and provide your thoughts and comments by December 6th so we can get that released sort of mid-December to kind of, get the problem rolling and get the information out there. There is, I probably should mention as well, about 14 million available for each year, which is why we've decided to let it open for about a year before we start accepting applications, just so we have enough funding to make sure we're funding all the right projects. So, but if you have any questions, feel free to use the advance_CBO email address. You can email me. It's brian.martin@state.co.us. And we look forward to hearing from you. So thank you.
All right. Thanks, Brian. All right. So that's all for the CBO staff updates. So now it's your time. If you have questions, this is your time to ask, or if you have comments, you can drop them into the chat and I will read them, or you can raise your hand and come off mute and ask the staff. But you can ask us questions about any of the updates you saw. So the BEAD program, the CPF program, the new Advanced Local program, or the legislative updates, or you could just ask us any questions you have. So this is really your time to ask us what's on your mind. So I'll pause for a minute and we'll see if there's any questions. All right. If there are no questions, we will move on to the last slide here, which just reminds you of all the ways that you can stay in touch with us. The next roundtable calls will be in January. They are every other month. You can email us at that email address that Brian had mentioned, and that's for any of our grant programs. We do have a newsletter that you can sign up for, which comes out monthly. You can follow us on social, or you can reference our website, all of the news articles that have talked about broadband in Colorado. We post those all over our website as well. So lots of different ways to keep in touch with us. So if there are no other questions, we will wrap up. We will post this recording and the slides on our website. So be on the lookout for those if you need to rewatch anything. So thanks you everyone for joining us. Have a great day.